Good morning and welcome to Warrior TV. I'm Kerry Burr, the Human GPS, and I am joined this morning by my very good friend, the man in the tutu, Mr. David Baum, and we'll be with you just after this. Good morning, David. It's lovely to have you here. Thank you for agreeing to joining me this morning.
My absolute pleasure, and thank you so much for asking.
Wonderful. Now, I've got to ask the question, how are you this morning? Because you did rather a long run yesterday, didn't you?
Yeah, I did the Great South Run. It's the first time ever I did that. I had actually done some long runs training, and actually I feel really good because the one thing I did after the event was I not just had to collapse on the green because my little legs were a bit tired, and I am old, but I used that point to stretch, and I didn't care how stupid I looked doing my downward dogs and all the other bits and pieces I do. But it means this morning I had no pain, which is great. It's a good metaphor in life. However much exertion you do, the most important thing is that afterwards is to cool down or just spend time relaxing and allowing those endorphins to cool down and everything to chill. And then guess what? You can get on and get up and move on with life.
Absolutely.
It's fun.
Absolutely. It's I know that I've known for a long time that you're involved with the Move for Wellness campaign, excuse me, which I believe you set up, didn't you?
I did. I created it along with Mel. We created it.
Absolutely. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Okay. The Move for Wellness originally came out of another project we were running called the 365 Challenge, which was basically challenging people to exercise and making them understand that mental health, PTSD, is not just related to the armed forces. It can affect everyone and anyone, as we know it does. Unfortunately, that message has become quite well known now, thanks to people like Prince William getting out there. You've got footballers coming out saying that they had PTSD, and pop stars, and all of a sudden people understand it is not just those who are forced into situations, but anyone can do it. But the trouble with 365 Challenge was trying to get people to understand that exercise, and what we set it up was 3 exercises, 60 seconds each one, 5 times a day, and all different exercises, was very hard for so many people to comprehend. In fact, someone said, for me to get out of a chair is a miracle. So we thought, okay, let's reset, as we can do this in life. What are we trying to achieve? And the idea is, obviously at that time, was just to get people moving. So even if all you could do is walk around your flat or your house, because don't forget it's right in the middle of lockdown, then we should do something meaningful with that. And let's do something stupid. Let's do a gentle exercise, 2 minutes, 21 seconds a day. If you can do it more than once, fantastic. But if all you can do is once, that's a victory for you, which is going to make you feel so much better. But it's evolved and grown, because one of the great things about life is if you're open to people about what you're doing, not just for this great ego that I'm doing this and this is going to be great, but actually ask people's opinion. And one of the things we wanted to do was raise lots of money, which is 365,000. And the idea originally was we're going to open up walking clinics. And I was talking to a friend of someone you know as well, Callum Nicholson. And He goes, what the hell are you trying to reinvent the wheel for, David? So what do you mean? He said, there's some amazing places out there. They're called talking cafes. And I've forgotten all about them. He said, they've got the expertise. They have the people who are qualified there to help. What they don't have is money. Like all these organisations, none of them are usually registered charity because they can't meet the criteria. And trust me, anyone trying to become a registered charity, good luck. It ain't easy, and it's far better to be a not-for-profit. So we thought about it. We said, actually, we can help. So what he said was, half the money we raise will go to support 4 different talking cafe type organisations. It will be to do with mental health, It will be to do with bereavement. It will be to do with the LGBTQT, whatever, because that's so woefully under-supported. And stop laughing, because I can't say all the words. And the other is those recovering from drug-induced lifestyle and their family, so drug rehab. And the other half will be used to make a variation of what we originally planned. We are going to look to open up within every town centre, if possible, simple oasis of calm, which will be a room. There'll be a reception desk where you will go in, you will leave your phone and any electronic devices, and you will go into the room. And you can be in that room for half an hour, however long you need. And all that you will have will be sensory noises, birds singing, yet the being the smell, film of just nature, just allowed to calm. So if you're feeling really stressed one day and you want to pull your hair out and you don't know what to do with yourself, you'll be able to go along and just chill, and then reset your natural body temperament and go back out in the world. You suddenly realise actually the world's quite pretty cool.
Yeah, that sounds absolutely amazing. Actually, really amazing.
We're getting there. Yeah.
Yeah, and I love the idea of having that oasis, because everybody needs to have that place of calm and relaxation, don't they? And not everybody's going to be able to get that at home. Not everybody's going to want to walk out into the middle of nowhere to get it. Some people won't even have that directly accessible on their doorsteps.
No, I mean, the problem we've got is if you are, say, in an abusive relationship where a lot of people's mental health trauma starts, that you can't just walk away from your relationship, your marriage. You may have children, or partnership, but you do need to push that reset button and allow yourself that half hour just to clarity, say, actually, do I want this? Don't I? So to be able to walk into a room and not have anyone worrying about who you are, it's not going to have a big sign, come and chill out here in the gaudy neon lights flying around, so everyone knows you're going to this room. It's just somewhere that will just say, the oasis of calm, and just you'll go in. There will be, because obviously you can't just have that, you have to be able to give help. So within that, there will be leaflets and details of organisations that will be able to offer assistance. But the first part that anyone should have is that feeling that they can calm down and be relaxed. How many times as parents, I remember almost one day doing some work at home, and the boys were young. Now Philip is now 34 and a father of his own, and Oddie is 31. So now we changed to be a teacher. I remember about 9. Mel had gone away for a retreat. She was recovering from breast cancer, and I was doing some work at home. I was decided to put some dado rails up. Since then, I've discovered I actually put them upside down. Until about 20 years to understand that I actually put them upside down. But anyway, that's not the story. The story was I actually didn't clear a shelf, and I'm cutting a dado rail to shape, knocked off one of Mel's ginger jars, smashed. And at that moment in time, the boys started laughing. And I could feel the red cloud coming down. I said, just get out of this room now before I really hurt you. Because I could just sense I was going to get so angry, even if just shouting wouldn't do it. So Philip being Philip suddenly realised, come on, they grabbed Oliver out and they closed the door, and I calmed down. Philip puts him around. I said, all right, let's go back in, Dad. I'm so sorry, boys. I just was stupid and I was angry and I didn't want to hurt. And that was fine, but I had the ability to stop. Another time I may not have been able to stop myself. And to know that I could go around the corner if that was bad and just go.
Let's face it as well, hurting somebody is not all about using physical force, is it? It's more often than not, the lasting effects are as a result of the words that are used, isn't it?
I mean, how many parents have used this? I mean, you're useless, you're stupid. How many lovers, how many boyfriends, husbands, wives, girlfriends have said you're stupid, you're useless, etc., etc. And all that does is destroy the confidence, because eventually people believe they are useless, they're stupid, they're ugly, they're fat. We made a point when the boys were growing up never to call them stupid. We often say, what a stupid thing to do. Why did you say so stupid? It was never, and we made sure it was never about them feeling stupid, because that lingers, that pain. I always remember being told being told at class that you're stupid. I didn't understand that. Potentially, I had dyslexia at the time. I didn't understand it, but I found a teacher actually worked really hard with me in my final year at primary school, and it became apparent that when I had someone explain things clearly to me, then I performed better in school. And she never called me stupid or useless. And she was the teacher that everyone feared. One teacher, no one wanted to be in her class, but Mrs. Jones was brilliant to me. And I think these things, but I left primary school when I was 11, I'm 63. I think she has probably shuffled off this mortal coil many, many years ago. And I always remember this woman for the kindness that she made me work.
That's the thing, isn't it? It is very much. I mean, me, my passion with helping people and having use of some amazing NLP techniques at my fingertips. And it is very much about the language. That's the thing. It is very much about what we say to people, what we tell them about them, and what we tell them about ourselves. You're absolutely right. Say something often enough to somebody, that person will begin to believe it themselves.
Of course they do. I mean, as you know, Kerry, I get a lot of interesting propositions online from very ladies, and I find it very flattering. But I keep saying I'm 63; they're in their 20s. What would they like to? Why would? And so I was having this conversation with someone yesterday, and she said, "Yes, I'm only 25, but I'm fed up with boys, and I rather chat and talk to older men who are often more respectful." And I said, unfortunately, not all older men are as respectful. And she said, I appreciate you've been honest. You're not trying to chat me up. You're not trying to make me strip off. And I love the fact that you're prepared to talk to me. And the problem we've got is we've become this hate society where people seem to revel in hurting other people. I mean, this poor MP that died, Sir David Amess, regardless of what's your political persuasion, it was a tragedy. It was murder. The same way as Joe Cox was murdered. The same way as Ari Neve was murdered all those years ago. It's not something you make political capital out of. There were vile tweets at the weekend about this is Tory scum, they get what they deserve. And you think, what is wrong with this world that we're allowing hate to become the predominant feature of how we work? And that's so wrong. And I'm one man. You're one person, Kerry. On our own, we can't do anything about it. But if we can come together, and show the world that actually the minority, and let's face it, all bullies are in the minority. And the reason they're bullies is because they're not being heard, and they want to be this powerful person. They want to be that megalomaniac. They want to be that, and they create this ugly because they've often been taught that as well from their early age.
I was going to say, behaviours are generally learnt. They're taught from a young age, and they are learnt. And I still stand by, no matter what the behaviour is, you may despise a person's behaviour, but there is always a higher positive intention behind it. There's always a reason why somebody is doing what they're doing. And like you just said with the bullies, it's very likely that they were bullied themselves. It could well be that they've actually witnessed it at home between their parents. Or
I actually had when I've talked about this quite regularly, openly at 14, I was very badly bullied at school for a variety of reasons, one being Jewish. And I remember when Schools Reunited came out, do you remember their website? It was the first linking, which was great. One of the guys, Roy, put on there for all the people that I was horrible to as a bully, as a 14, 15, 16-year-old, especially the Jewish boys in the school. I wish to humbly apologise. I didn't understand what I was hearing at home, and it was only when, believe it or not, I went to live in Israel that I realised how wrong I was. And I'm delighted that my children will never be known as bullies. And I thought that took so much guts to actually come out and apologize. And I think so. I actually did this. I upset a girl when I was 15. I 2 times or 3 times. 3 times. She'd been unwell. We went to the farm fair with some friends, and all her 3 friends decided that I was fair game, and I was trust me, hormones racing as a teenager. I was very happy to oblige, but I felt guilty for over the years. So we became friends on Facebook, and I actually apologized. She said, "What the hell are you talking about, David?" She said, "I don't remember it." And I said, I felt guilt, but I had that, and it did feel very good to actually apologize.
So, I mean, yeah, I mean that's a complete respect for people like that. But let's face it, you know, when we're kids, we don't fully understand that because we're still learning so much. And there's going to be a conflict of beliefs and core values with each young person, whilst they're still learning, because, you know, we're predominantly, we learn from our parents, our caregivers, our main caregivers, and we do learn a lot from school and others around us, you know. So we tend to, we tend to form friendships with those who we feel are on our kind of wavelength.
Well, that's
although
how these
some do go astray, don't they?
Well, what about the influencers? Don't forget, we have got children, and a lot of adults are being their whole lifestyle and their way of living is derived from, without pulling one person apart, say Jordan or the Kardashians. And what people don't realize is 90% of the stuff that goes out under the name is out by a publicist, because they're being asked to promote X, Y, Z, etc. And what they don't understand is you'll never have what they have. You've got lifestyles.
Yeah.
I was said from Adam. What's the there is no difference as far as I'm concerned. Bullying is bullying. End of story. Sorry, Adam. It's if you are a bully, you are a bully. End of story.
I think also there's a degree of within that. I agree with you, David. You know, bullying is bullying. End of. Wherever it's come from. However, I have seen it myself on various occasions over the years, where a person is bullying person B, or being a bit nasty to person B, quite judgmental or whatever, because person B is different to person A.
Correct.
But person B and person A are never going to be identical anyway.
Nobody's ever going to be. Nobody's going to be.
Infinite times, and you know, no 2 people on this planet are identical. But I think it also comes from, particularly with physical and mental challenges, I believe that it comes from a place of not understanding, you know, that they're not educated enough. They don't understand why the person's doing what they're doing, and that person might do something, you know, that somebody else would find funny, and so they laugh.
That's it. Well, it's you know, when you're being bullied, you're out of the crowd, and people often join in with the bully to feel part, be safety in numbers. But I always remember this true story. Meryl has a friend, B, who was born pneumofibromatosis. You know, and she unfortunately had to have a leg amputated below the knee as a child. But she was a phenomenal swimmer. And she said us a story that she said they were at school, primary school, and this girl was being tormented by everybody except for Mel, her sister, a very small girlfriend, until the day they went to the class swimming. And there were these boys showing off. And all she did was she got ready to go. So, oh, you can't swim. So she said, would you like a race? What they didn't know was she was a county level swimmer for the disabled. And she basically was finished before they had done her one length. At that moment in time, the bullying stopped, because all of a sudden they realised that she could do something that they can't. And I think one of the things we can do to try and break the cycle of bullying is try to get people the bully and the bullied to talk and understand. They may never be friends. I mean, Philip, I was terribly bullied at school, and in the end, he was one of these people. He holds things in, he doesn't let go, and they were really to do with his religion. And the bully was not Jewish, and one day Philip just basically lammed him, and with the teacher's phone up, said, "Oh, sorry, Philip's in trouble." Off the record, we're delighted that he suddenly let go because he's been holding this in, but we're going to have to do. So I phoned up the boy's parents, and I said, "Look, I have no idea what's going on. Whatever happens, it's not right that one child hits another child. But obviously something has been going on. And I think what we need to do is make sure these both boys keep away. Philip will write a letter of apology to this other boy. If the other boy wants to write, or someone wants to write, that's up to him." And by the time they were ready to leave the school, and it was a good school, the school was very supportive of everybody. They were not friends, but they were very much more. And it turns out, I mean, it was the fact of the different religions, and he just took offense because he'd heard that's what they do, and he thought it was a learned reaction to someone who. And in that respect, it was a great lesson for Philip, because he had to learn that actually sometimes in life people react because they do.
Absolutely. As I said before, a lot of the reactions from people is coming from a place of not having enough information about that particular individual and their background, their challenges, their whatever. You know, I can remember being at school, and sorry, not at school. It was it was my very early 20s. I was out of work, and I'd requested to go on a government-funded training scheme. I think it was the Business Admin NVQ Level 2, something like that. Because, of course, these are all things that we don't learn at school. But I thought by doing this, it opened up a whole wider range of opportunities for me. And whilst I was there was a young girl there who was from a completely different background. She was very quiet, very shy. And we weren't all the same age. There was different ages, you know, perhaps one or two that were a little bit younger than me, others that were at the time considerably older, even, you know, my age as I am now. And admittedly, the older people were fine. But those that would, let's say, between the ages of about 18 and 30, for example, they would, I heard them, they huddled together in corners, and you could, as if you walked past, you could hear them talking about this young girl that was there, and they weren't saying particularly nice things, you know. And one day I was chatting with one of these people, and they mentioned this young girl, and I said to this person, you know, have you ever spoken to her? You know, do you know anything about her at all? And they go, well, no, but I've heard this, I've heard that, I've heard something else, you know. So I said, well, you know, I've chatted with her, and actually, when you get to know her, she's all right. And they're like, oh. And it's as if, you know, they haven't actually thought about that. Oh, hello.
This is the herd mentality.
Yeah, but just speak to people, talk to people, smile. Even if you don't want to speak, just smile or say good morning. You know,
I love doing that to people. Mel goes mad at me, and I just go. I mean, yesterday in the morning, people. I'll just say good morning to people. We're chatting to people before, and I suddenly realised actually I should have been at the front because my group started earlier, and it was just people were talking.
Yeah.
Afterwards, you know, people come. It was this herd mentality that bullies hook into, those who are on the negative side of life, who feel inferior, they feel, you know, they're shorter, you've got specs, you're all these things that make you feel that you're not the Kim Kardashian, the Arnold Schwarzenegger, the Rock. All these people, that's not me. What they don't actually understand is most people feel the same inferiority. It's only if you're lucky and you meet people such as yourself, Kerry, who empower you to feel better about yourself, that they become interested. We met through networking.
We did.
And we became friends, not because we'd met each other in real life, but became friends because we became interested in what the other was doing. And we didn't try and make judgment calls about who they are or anything. And I keep saying COVID-19 has actually done, in some respect, a lot of good to the world. I know people are going to go, how can you say that? It's dreadful. It's killed. Millions have died. Yes, we know they've died. There's nothing we can do about that. And I'm not going to go into the ins and the whys and the conspiracy theories about this and stupidity. It doesn't matter. So on that, by the way, never allow anyone to bully you to have a vaccine. If you want to have the vaccine, have the vaccine. Now, I can say this quite happily. I've had my double jab and I'll have a triple because I was going to go to Africa with the 365 and I would have had to have 6 vaccines. Ooh. One of them is for dengue fever. The side effect of dengue fever injection is death. Now, I want to enjoy life, so I had my vaccines. It's not going to stop me getting it. Yeah. But that's my choice. I am fed up with the antis demanding and again, this is this negative. You scream loud enough, it'll stop people doing it. No, just make people more and more negative. But it's the whole thing is about. Don't try to impose your will. Now we'll talk about mental health. Yeah. When somebody, I know from my own experience, when somebody is in that period of things, the last thing they need to hear is someone saying to them, just pull out, get out, go, man up, pull yourself up, get on with that.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't. In fact, it's the reverse. And what I keep saying to people is, if you want to help people, yes, we can get them exercising. Yes, we can get them looking at how the food that they eat, which it also exacerbates moods, etc. But actually, the best thing you can do for someone is give them the time that they need. And what COVID-19 did, the general lockdown, has given those people who are on the positive side of life the opportunity to sit back and go, okay, do I like what I had in my life? Or do I want to change what my life was? And there's a whole new tribe, for want of a better, where we're all people that are moving away from what has been. It can't come back, folks. COVID-19 put a blanket on a brick wall up. We'll never go back to the way the world was. No. You have choices now. You can choose to be vaccinated. You can choose to work from home. You can choose not to eat the rubbish that they purport to be food and start to learn to eat proper food. You can take the choice to laugh and watch something comical or cry because of what's going out in the world. Your actions today only really influence one person, yourself. They can change who you feel, but your negative actions can adversely affect so many other people. I mean, I know I don't want to talk about this too much, but David Ames, who unfortunately murdered, it turns out he's a killer, and let's face it, I don't want to call him a terrorist, right? He's a killer, was influenced by what he saw on YouTube. Now, this is a fact. These negative films on YouTube and Instagram and all the others, I'm sorry, the people behind them should pull those films. Anything that is insightful and hatred and violence should be pulled today. End of story. And let the world then start understanding that positivity.
It's interesting that you should mention that, about, what we watch has an effect to a degree on how we behave as individuals in society. Again, all you've got to do is look at the language. You're watching a TV program, yeah, and what's it doing? It's programming your mind, your brain, to believe certain things. To become addicted, if you like, to watching this particular soap opera or that particular series or whatever it is.
Well, the soap operas, I mean, you said, I mean, it's highly addictive. It's like McDonald's and the others. But I remember we made a conscious decision to stop watching soap operas, because why do I want to be depressed and get angry? And they'll have the same way. But on the positive side, let's use Strictly Come Dancing. There is the perceived identity of a gay man is as camp can be. They're almost drag queen-esque. On this program, you have a male couple. Both are openly gay. Neither of them really are camp. And they're just showing that you can actually be a normal person. You don't have to be camp. And I think it's such a positive endorsement. The fact is, I think after the first moment of watching them dance, you forget that. You're just watching two talented
dancing.
Men. And it's brilliant. That will do more for enhancing a young man who is gay, who's lost in the world about how he should behave, to understand you don't need to be camp and over the top, because your sexuality is your own decision. It's what you want to be. And the fact is that if you want to be camp, be camp, but you don't have to be. That's not the way of living. And I think that's such a positive step in the right direction. I'm so pleased that this program has done it this year.
It's you're absolutely right. We all have choices. We all have the right to choose, no matter what it is. We do all have that right to choose. And I think, as I say, going back to being children and going through through our teenage years, young people growing into adults, even young adults are still very, they're still learning. They're still learning.
Very because, much so.
We've through childhood, we're literally, we're sponges. We're taking in everything, and we'll take on much, if not all, of our parents' beliefs and values. And it's not until we get to like early teens when we start to then look outside of the family unit, and we're looking at idols, if you like, pop stars, actors, athletes, football stars, whoever, and they are going to be people who we will resonate with. Their beliefs, their values start to resonate with us, and and so we start to become a little bit more like them. Now, here's the interesting thing, because in the world of NLP, that's known as modeling. With NLP, the idea is to model excellence. Okay, but essentially, most importantly, is to be ourselves and know that we have those choices. Know that, any behaviors that we pick up and portray, they're not working for us. They can be changed. There are other options available to us. So
I think the hardest part is, though, Kerry, for that. I think the hardest part for that is always going to be to understand, first of all, do the best that you can.
Yes.
Look in the mirror and go, actually, I've done that really well. But also, sometimes the trouble is that people become fixated if they're not doing it well, of push themselves to the nth degree to prove it. And what I think most people really do need is a life coach or a coach of some description. I mean, when you're an athlete, you have a coach that helps you. I've now got a PT to do with running, because I want to do now the London Marathon, and I know I cannot reach what I need. So I'm never going to be a world beater, but I want to be the best that I can be. And I've had business coaches, but you've got to first of all allow that coach to come in. And it's the same with mental health. Everything is to find your champion. Find that person that's going to give you that hug and say, come on, you're doing this, you're getting there. But also, actually, what you're just doing was a bit of a silly thing to do. Why did you do it that way? Let's look at what you've done. And how are we, because you're investing in your time with them, how are we going to get to the next stage? I mean, I had a fantastic business coach or mentor for quite a while, and I still use what would Steve do when I'm facing certain situations. And we got to the point where there was no point going anywhere, because really we're not doing anything, because we were just mulling over. I can still pick the phone up and go, Steve, what do you think? But I found other people that have come in who allow me, that they then take me to the next level. But you've got to be prepared to accept that you will fail in life. And it's not a hardship. It's not negative. It's positive. If you fail and are prepared to learn from it.
Yes. Thank you, David. Absolutely. Totally and utterly agree there. Absolutely. There is, I always said that there is such a thing as failure. The only time it's failure is if you decide that you're going to quit. Yeah.
Or the other failure is you keep making the same mistake over and over again, expecting different results. And this has happened time and it's like everything that even within politics and everything in life. I mean, no, I shouldn't do this, but if you look at the Gulf War, the fact is that nobody planned for what happens next. And it goes back to Afghanistan, goes back to the Russians. The Afghanistan, they lost. The great armies of the world lost against the Mujahideen. And when they went into Afghanistan, no one thought, oh, what happened previously? That's not necessarily, and I understand why they went in. This is not about politics. But they didn't actually look, what is the end result of our actions? And if we do this, what are we going to do next? And in life,
I think it's very much a case, isn't it, of what is it we want to achieve,
and then when we've achieved it,
when we know what it is that we want to achieve, then we can plan to take the relevant steps, the relevant action, the effective action to move ourselves nearer towards that goal, that thing that we really want to achieve. And if at some point we go through that journey, when we reach a point where we realize that actually what we're doing isn't quite working as well as we'd hoped, we at least then have the opportunity to just stop, take some time out and look at it and say, okay, what do I need to do differently? What can I do differently? And it's the same in every single aspect of life, whether it's business, personal relationships, our physical health, our mental health. And let's face it, mental and physical health are directly linked.
Oh, God, yes.
And
that, without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah. And we all know that exercise helps to release those endorphins, those good feeling endorphins. But
it's not just the exercise that releases them. It's silliness, it's laughter. It's
I was going to say, tell us, I know we haven't got a lot of time this morning, but tell me where you got Frivolous Friday from. I love watching those videos of you and Mel.
Why? Because it makes us laugh. And if it's making us laugh, then that's all that matters. And what we did originally, we did it to make ourselves laugh, and people seem to like it. And I remember I had someone working with us on Original 360. Why are you using what's that stupid doll? Why are you wearing? I said, because it makes people laugh. Oh, don't have that involved with that. And he didn't get his head around the fact that everything that we do is about reaching and making people laugh. So the rule of thumb is it happy music? Yes. Does it? If I want to choose some music, I will just get Mel to close her eyes. I'll put the music on. If her foot taps, we're doing it. And we've got the Tillies, which stands for Talking Improves Life Longevity Immeasurably, which are basically plastic heads on broomsticks with wigs on.
They're brilliant.
And sometimes my head comes apart, but that makes us laugh. It's like when we do the exercises, like Ollie and I muck around with our exercises. Sometimes we'll just cannot get it straight. It's particularly nice Saturday. There we are. We're doing exercise in time. And my God, sometimes it actually works. And last weekend was quite achievement. We actually did 2 minutes, 21 seconds, nigh on synchronized. It was quite amazing. But more often than not, it's just one of us will start laughing. And laughter is one of the great joys. There was a true story of American journalist, editor, very powerful man who diagnosed with cancer. And it was inoperable. He was going to die. And he said, he discharged himself from hospital. He went home. He said, right, if I'm dying, I'm going to do what I want to do now. which was he got every, and it was before VHS. He got films of every silent movie. He watched the silent movies. He drank proper drink. He didn't drink the Prozac. He on proper food. And 6 months later, he went back to the GP's hospital, and they said, "What are you doing here? We thought you were done." He said, and they checked, and he found out that the cancer had shrunk. And 18 months later, it had gone completely. He'd done it purely by laughter. Laughter. I mean, I know what's the old adage? You laugh and the world laughs with you, cry and you cry alone. And so if we can make people on a Friday just laugh, what they've done now. If I can make people look, I walk out, go around running around in a blue tutu. If that makes people laugh, fantastic. If it makes people wear that, who I am. In fact, actually, I was saying off air that yesterday at it's Great South Run, it's great. Oh, by the way, I can show you this. There you go. I must show this. That's my medal.
Fantastic.
As my youngest, as I always said, it looks like the Star of Araroth from Bedknobs and Broomsticks, which is great. But anyway, there were people wearing tutus.
Yeah.
And I was chatting with this girl wearing a bright orange tutu. She said, "Yeah." She said, "I've seen someone wearing one, and I thought, what a great idea." I've rest my case. It just doesn't really matter. It's all about enjoying life. You've got a 63-year-old guy trundling along, running, not anything else. You're going to be laughing. You have to laugh because it's just so stupid. And I don't care. If I can make people laugh and make them smile and just take 30 seconds out away from their pain of life. Let's face it, we don't really know what's happening in the world. I don't know. Someone's got someone. You hear terrible things. A friend of mine fell off her bike the other day. How sad was that? She could have been badly bruised. But we do not know what's going on in people's lives.
We don't.
And all I can do is, and all you can do, anyone watching this can do, is be there. If you make them laugh, that couldn't just take away that from momentarily from the pain of what's going on. And then hopefully they actually might tell you, because the great thing you can do as an individual, if you know somebody, is give them the chance to tell you. Don't judge them. Don't say, "What's up? Come on, cheer up." It might never happen. If they're that sad, it probably has. It could have been that someone they've loved for all their life has just died.
You're absolutely right. We don't know what's going on in other people's lives, and it's my personal opinion is that it's very important for all of us to realize that, and there's just to have a little bit of respect for people. We don't need to go around judging people. We don't need to go around hating on people. We're all
negativity. And
it is, and negativity breeds negativity. I mean, like you said, with Frivolous Friday and wearing a tutu when you're out running, if you can make people laugh. I mean, my default setting is humour. Not everybody's going to get it, but that's where I go to. Even in the most negative of situations, there's always humour somewhere itching to come out, and sometimes I have to sort of go, no, that's actually a bit inappropriate, so let's not say that. But do you
sometimes I get told when I laugh at my humour is inappropriate, and I'll go, why? Because that's my default setting, like yourself. And that's why I think this is why we become friends, because our humour is similar, and we're non-judgmental. And we can take the mickey out of each other quite happily, because we know it's not done. And if, God forbid, I actually ever upset anybody, I'm mortified. But as I said earlier, I get mortified if I upset somebody. From when I was 15, I was still worried about it. But that's just my nature. I know I'm not going to be the next Daley Thompson, for want of a better word, from going back to my youth, who was one of my heroes at the time and still is. But I'm going to be the best that I can be. And when you watch things like, there are lots of role models out there that are positive role models. And when you watch them, there's a young girl who's a friend of mine now through the gym that I go to, and she's a trainer. She's only 21. 22. She was a research chemist. She's got a degree and given it up to be a PT. And she's fantastic. She can influence younger women to be better than they are. I was just talking to somebody I'm familiar with who in Scotland has got a 3-year-old child, and she has lost 75 pounds. And what an inspiration that is. And she's happy in life. I see my wife, she's now lost 10 pounds. Oh, she's on a, and the look of happiness in her eyes. And all I could have been very nasty before, but I never did, because there's always something positive that I can give. And I love watching people who are positive role models. They're not rubbishing people, not saying you can, if you take this supplement, you can be me. Actually, this is who I am. This is what I do. And if I can help you reach this, then talk to me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, we are human. We're beings having a human experience. And part of having that human experience is to feel all of the feelings. And that's the negative as well as the positive.
Mm-hmm.
But as we've both already said, we also have that choice. We can choose to be happy, or we can choose to be unhappy. There are certain situations, certain instances where we won't necessarily have a choice of how we feel at that instant, but we at least have full control, or at least that we do have the control. We have the power to take control of our thoughts and our feelings, so that we can allow those negative ones to not take over and control us.
I mean,
one last thing before we disappear, David. Where can people find you, and how can they help support you?
Well, I had this all planned out. I was going to hold up a sign that says https www.maninthetutu.co.uk, but I haven't. So for those who are slow readers, it's https www.maninthetutu.co.uk.
Hang on, let's do that again. Let's see if I can put it in the comments. It's https
//
Oh, so
I don't know all the text.
It's colon 2 forward slashes.
Yeah. www.
Yep.
maninthetutu.co.uk.
Right.
And that. Oh, by the way, sorry, I don't want to have that. That does take you straight through to our Just Giving page, because guess what? I'm a very nice person who enjoys life, but I actually want to help other people, and so we are going to need your help. And so far, I've actually raised about £10,000. So we've still got 355,000 to go, but we're getting there. If people are around in November and fancy coming and getting free tickets to the business show at Excel in the Docklands, 24th and 25th of November, come along, because I'm going to be on a bike for 2 days. As Kerry saw me what I did for 1 day, this is for 2 days, 5 hours a day minimum. Just basically pedaling to nowhere, but getting very sweaty. But if you want to come along and try have a chat about what we're doing, Merle's going to be there. We're more than happy to talk about that. Give me a few minutes to get us stop pedaling. Find us on Facebook.
Excellent.
Find on Twitter, Instagram.
Will people have the opportunity to donate as well?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. We have our. Excuse me. Let me whip something out. Our bucket is ready.
Fabulous.
And yeah, it's actually, as I said, prepare for everything. But ultimately, it will be a great 2 days. But talk to me anyway. If you want to know more information, Kerry's got my details, contact details here, and also online. Chat to me. If you want to be part of what we're doing for Move for Wellness. Move for Wellness is a community that's growing. On Facebook, we're getting close over 500 members now on Facebook. It's never going to be the David show or the Melanie show. It is a community show. We positively encourage people to post things that make people feel better, whether it's yoga, whether it's paintings, whether it's photographs, whether it's about something you've achieved. Share that with other people. Let's make our community of happiness grow. We can't stop pain and negativity. What we can do is offer an opportunity just to reset.
Definitely. David, thank you so much for agreeing to join us this morning. It's been
My pleasure.
absolutely wonderful chatting with you as always. And I know that we're going to get the opportunity to do that again in person in just a couple of weeks. And I'm really, really looking forward to that.
That'd be lovely to see you. But then again, there is a price. You do get your hair cut by me.
And that too. Yes. Yes. Adam will be pleased. I know I'm very aware that you've got another appointment in just a few minutes, David. So we will wrap up now. Again, thank you so much once again. And just a quick reminder for everybody out there watching at the moment that Warrior TV will be live again this evening at 8 p.m. That's UK time. So obviously it'll be morning somewhere in the world and afternoon somewhere else in the world. As Warrior Queen Kerry Duval will be welcoming a guest who is the late Bob Marley's nephew. A gentleman by the name of Charles Mattox. So that's definitely going to be worth a watch. Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, for now, again, David, once more, thank you so much for joining me this morning. It's been an absolute delight, as always. And wherever you are in the world, have a great day. And don't forget, if you need to talk, just reach out. Okay? Take care. See you soon.
Bye.